You know, I don't know if I told you this because I only found out about this recently.
Okay.
Through a book that Richard Gurman wrote. He was one of our producers about the show. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know a lot about that. I mean, this is a month ago I read this.
About Married with Children?
Yeah,
okay.
About the making of it and the whole thing. What was it? I was thinking that Diller wanted Katie, but he didn't want me. Mm-hmm. Diller was Murdoch's right-hand guy.
Yeah.
And he just thought that they could do better, you know, because they never heard of me. Mm-hmm. I was a dramatic actor, as far as they were concerned.
Yes.
From New York and unknown. So they were putting a lot of money in this show, and they said, "This guy, who is he? Mm-hmm. He's not a comedian. He's not funny. He's not." So they were desperate because they were a week away from shooting. So they said, "We really want him." And Murdoch said, Diller said, "Do what you want," and left and went back to Fox. And so they started to make arrangements to cast me. And then apparently he called and said, "Did you get rid of O'Neill?" And they said, "No, you told us we could do what we want." He said, "I didn't mean it." So as the story goes, he said, "Well, it's bought for 12. It's now 1.
One episode?
We're paying for the pilot. If this thing doesn't kick off, this will never see the light of day. If you hire this guy."
And you just found that out a month ago?
Yeah. And they didn't tell me. And so we shot the pilot under those pressures for everybody else. I didn't know about it, you know. There was enough pressure.
Yeah.
But then apparently he said, okay, you know, afterwards. And then I think it was 6. And then, it went from there. He went 11 years.
11 years.
But I ran into him at one of these awards thing. I think I don't know what I was doing, but I ran into him.
Barry Diller?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I had also had little dealings with him when I did the movie Dutch, which was very funny.
Yes.
And he said, I made a mistake about you. And I said, we all make them. That's all I said. But the story that's funny about him, when they signed me up for Dutch and I shot it, then it was the holidays were coming up, and they do this. They had this idea to go on a bus and truck tour through the South over the Christmas holidays, like Little Rock, small towns, to promote the movie.
Yeah.
And I said, geez, it's over Christmas? You're going to take me and the kid on a bus. And they said, yeah, it's a wonderful idea, and we can really, they do that. So I said, I don't know. And they said, come to the commissary and we'll have lunch tomorrow. And I did. And there were 15 people at the table, all, trying to sell this idea. And I think, well, I guess I got to do it. I was having the contract checked if I had to do it.
Right.
And along comes Diller. He's walking,
Yeah.
And he comes over to the table and says, hi. And they're afraid of him, terrified of him. His head, he looks like a rattlesnake, right? So he looks at me and he says, I saw the movie the other night. It's good. I liked it. You're good. I said, thanks, Barry. He said, what are you here for? So the one says, well, we're thinking about, bus and truck tour for Mr. O'Neill and to go through the South. He said, it's the worst. I can't swear, right?
Yeah, no.
It's the worst blanket idea I ever heard in my life. A bus and truck tour. Looks at me, you want to do this? I said, not really. He said, no, worst idea I ever heard. And he walked away. Now, we hadn't even got our Cobb salads yet. There was no more conversation.
Over.
Nothing. Just glasses and tinkling and...
Saved you your bus tour. There was no Dutch bus tour. It's kind of funny, too, is that some people sometimes think when he would originally say, I don't want Ed O'Neill for the Al Bundy role. It's your funeral, I think is the words that you use or something like that.
It's your funeral to them.
Right, to them, yeah. Right. But that would be taken as, okay, thank you. You've now delegated the responsibility and decision to us. Yeah. He took it to mean you should now fire him.
Fire him.
And they didn't, and they cut the pilot order from 12 down to 1, and it lasts 11 years.
And, honestly, you couldn't blame him for being hesitant about me because he didn't know who I was.
Right.
They didn't know a thing about me.
Right. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.